I'm Eugene Volokh. I'm a professor at UCLA Law School, and I run a blog. So, New York passed a law that requires social media networks to have policies related to so called hateful conduct. Now, social media network might make one think, oh, Facebook, Twitter, and presumably would apply to them, but it also applies to any service provider which, for profit making purposes, and we do make a bit of a profit, operate a platform that helps users share content with other users. And we have comments on our blog. Under the New York statute, social media networks, defined broadly enough to cover, I think, blogs that have comments on them, have to have clearly and easily accessible mechanism for individual users to report incidents of hateful conduct, which again, they use conduct, but they really mean speech that expresses certain viewpoints they disapprove of. And then that mechanism is supposed to allow the social media network to provide a direct response to any individual reporting hateful conduct, informing them of how the matter is being handled. And I don't want the government telling me how I should react to comments of a particular viewpoint. So because I don't want to be constrained this way by the New York legislature, I want to decide for myself which comments to allow and which comments to delete. I've decided to sue, and I'm delighted that FIRE is representing me in this.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Madman with the Show. Thanks for clicking on this video. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share, and most of all, don't forget to comment below. Let me know what you think of these videos that we put on all of our social media platforms. One thing that I've said this before, the media has hidden a lot that's going on out there. And one of the main things that we keep hearing on a constant, we hear misinformation, we hear hate speech, and we hear this constantly from a lot of people, a lot of politicians. They say, well, we have to get rid of the hate speech. Why? Why, we have a constitution. We have a freedom of speech, okay? This is the word salads that they throw at you. According to the Constitution, according to the Supreme Court, there is no such thing as hate speech. When will people wake up and realize this? They continue to scream this out. They put fear-mongering into people. They say, well, it's the white supremacists that they're trying to take over and stuff like that. And when you look into the situation, that is not what is happening. Are they white supremacists out there? Yeah, of course. Are they neo-Nazis out there? Yeah, of course. But there are also other groups like Antifa, Black Bloc, and many others that have caused a lot of rioting and issues in this country. The damage that Antifa and Black Bloc did to New York City is people need to be arrested for. You've driven businesses, you've driven a city as great as New York into the toilet. And not only that we have that problem, now we have a major zombie drug problem in New York City. I mean, this is the nightmare that you were not expecting, to get a drug that basically literally that you would get necrosis from. Your skin starts to peel away, something like out of a movie, Cabin Fever. But one thing that was pushed last year very quietly and the people that have picked this up said that this is an insane law, that the governor of New York tried to push a hate speech law into effect in New York, but it didn't make it too far. From Breitbart, federal judge strikes down New York's social media hate speech law. A federal judge issued an injunction blocking enforcement of the New York hateful conduct law, seeking to regulate hate speech on social media platforms, ruling that the law is a violation of the First Amendment, which prevents the U.S. government from regulating the speech of its citizens. In a ruling issued, this was back about a week ago, Tuesday, U.S. District Court Judge of the United States District Court for Southern New York, Andrew L. Carter Jr., sided with legal blogger Eugene Volkov and the free speech-friendly video platform Rumble in their challenge to Governor Kathy Hochul's hateful content law. The hateful conduct law both compels social media networks to speak about contours of hate speech and the chills and the constitutionally protected speech of social media users without articulating a compelling governmental interest or ensuring that the law is narrowly tailored to that goal, said Judge Carter in his ruling. The law, according to Judge Carter, conflicts with the United States' national commitment to a free expression of speech where that speech is offensive or repugnant. The law is clearly aimed at regulating speech. Social media websites are publishers and curators of speech, and their users are engaged in speech by writing, posting, and creating content. Although the law ostensibly is aimed at social media networks, it fundamentally implicates the speech of the network users by mandating a policy and a mechanism by which users can complain about other users' protected speech. New York's hateful conduct law shares similarities with California's law requiring social media platforms to report their policies on hate speech, extremism, and disinformation to the state attorney general twice a year. The bill was signed into law by Gavin Newsom last year. See, the thing is, you could continue saying, well, they have all these people that are racists and stuff like that. Who the fuck cares? What's the old saying? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. Unless they are planning a plot to murder people, which that falls under a different statute, they can spew whatever they want online. Don't listen to them. I don't. If I don't like them, I just block the site. I just block the page. They can spew and spew and spew. It's the same thing with gaming. People said, we got to regulate hate speech in gaming and all that. And this is what the UK is doing with one of the gaming companies, that they're going to send the cops to people's door if they don't agree with what they say in gaming chats. We've seen this
post, and this pregnant woman is now in deep trouble.
You're under arrest in relation to incitement.
Incitement?
What's that?
What on earth? Excuse me, what on earth?
Just put your phone down.
Can you
record
this? I'm in my pajamas.
What's this?
I had an ultrasound in an hour.
Yeah, she's pregnant, so...
I'll take it easy.
What's this about?
If I have an ultrasound
Just let me finish.
in an hour.
Let me finish and I'll explain. It's in relation to a Facebook post, in relation to a lockdown protest you put on for Saturday.
Yeah, and I wasn't breaking any laws by doing
You
that.
are actually. You are breaking the law. That's why I'm arresting you in relation to
In
incitement.
front
How
of
can
my
you arrest
children,
her?
In
That's-
front of my 2 children.
She urged people to attend an anti-lockdown protest in Ballarat this weekend.
where several people questioned what was going on during COVID, and they did it on Facebook. And what did the government do? They sent the police to arrest people. Do you not understand? That is what the Germans were doing. Even though there was no internet back then, when people questioned stuff with the German hierarchy, guess what? They disappeared. They went to concentration camps with the Jews, or they were executed. This is where the trail we're headed for. All touted by the World Economic Forum. This is the totalitarianism, the Clockwork Orange, the Orwell 1984, Elysium type environment that the World Economic Forum wants for you. How Kathy Hochul ended up winning the election, and I'll tell you, it was a damn close election for governor here in New York. And note, the reason why the House of Representatives is where it is today on the side of the GOP is because of New York. A lot of the people here, you got to say, a lot of people here that vote on the left went went to the GOP this time around. Even though Kathy Hochul did not lose this race, which she should have, because she doesn't know what she's doing in New York. This is the same woman that basically is allowing marijuana sales to go on without regulating it. Meanwhile, we have 1,500 stores in New York City alone with illegal, non-licensed, no license at all, selling weed, selling edibles to children. Who knows if they're selling the weed? And who knows if this illegal weed is laced with fentanyl, that it also has that drug that basically they're calling that zombie drug, tranq, is laced in it as well. I said, how much of a body count do you need before you realize you fucked up by legalizing this? I've always said, medicinal marijuana, if you want to do that, that's fine. Do it right. Do it through a pharmacy and through a doctor and through prescriptions proper. That's how you regulate it. You don't get people growing it on the outside for that. You say, well, the pharmaceuticals will make money off of it. Nobody's making any money now. There are no taxes on that. This is the same thing with tax cigarettes. They're still being sold in New York City. Okay? We have the same stores that are selling the illegal pot is selling untaxed cigarettes as well. This is the New York that we headed on. And now she wants to control what you're saying on the internet and probably what you're saying out on the street. Think about that. Once again, there is no hate speech according to the Constitution and the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has heard multiple cases on that. The last one was 2017 and said the same thing every time. A person has the right to say what they want. The other day, what was it? There was that Broadway show Parade that came out. And now, listen, I'm not for or against the groups that were protesting out there, because I don't know who was protesting out there. Were they neo-Nazis? Were they white supremacists? Or were they just a ploy by somebody putting them out there to gain advertisement for that show? Now, like I said, do I agree with that group? Do I agree? I don't even know who they were. But they had the right to say what they had to say. No matter whether you like them or not. What stops someone from saying anything else is hateful speech or misinformation? We heard this. We heard doctors, UCLA, Harvard Medical, that were banned for speech on Twitter. These guys were experts in their field, and they were blocked. It's a slippery slope when people try to say, oh, we need to stop this, we need to stop racism, stuff like that. Racism will always exist as if someone hates another person. That will always be the situation. Can we stop it? We were on our way to. Until you had politicians start using word salad that made everything look worse than what it actually was. What do we have now? We have a drug problem that is through the roof. We have radicals that are running through our streets, destroying private property and businesses, and not only big corporations, we're talking them small mom and pops, putting them out of business. We have an education standards in most cities that the kids are well below math and reading scores. Places like Baltimore, New York, California, and many others, that the kids can't read or do proper math. But meanwhile, they're trying to push sexuality, LGBTQ radical situations, transgender radical situations on young children when they should not be hearing this. And we have a video coming out that, hey, listen, the new book burnings are here. Instead of burning the books, let's rewrite them and remove what we don't like. We got a video coming out on that. So we'll continue to monitor this to see if this gets appealed. It'd be stupid for her to repeal this. Because I'll say it once and I'll say it again. If you don't like what someone says, don't answer them. Don't click on them. If you want to answer, fine. If you want to get into that hole. But, the best thing you do, if you don't like what someone says on and this is the same thing for broadcast television, on the internet, on the radio, turn it off. That's all. Turn it off. Block it. You have the right to do that. That's the one thing you don't. You don't have to sit there and listen to it. When they start screaming through the roof and saying this, that, and the other thing, and nobody's listening to them, they'll stop talking about it. That's the way to get rid of it. Let them scream it through the roof and let it get it out of them. That's the way you're going to get rid of it. But to block freedom of speech, just so you can block what you don't like what people say, that's some Nazi bullshit. So let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.